Brilliance Audio presents In Her Shadow by Mark Edwards, performed by Esther Wayne. The moment Jessica reached her daughter's classroom door, Mrs. Rose leaned out and said the phrase Jessica dreaded more than any other. "Can I have a word, please?" They were only 6 weeks into the school year, the all-important reception year, and Olivia had turned 4 at the end of August, making her one of the youngest children in the class. For the first few weeks she had clung to her mother every morning, refused to speak to the teachers, cried when she was picked up, and generally made Jessica feel like she was evil for leaving her in this place 5 days a week. But then Olivia had suddenly settled down, appeared even to enjoy going to school. It had been such a relief. But the tone of Mrs. Rose's voice, the slightly nervous look in her eye, suggested something had changed. Jessica entered the classroom and waved at Olivia, who was sitting on the carpet with the other kids, wide-eyed and pretty, with all that red hair that she had inherited from Jessica. While she waited for the last few kids to be collected, Jessica looked around at the paintings on the wall, the collage of all the children in the class, Olivia smiling angelically, and the behavior balloons, green, yellow, and red, like traffic lights. Name labels were attached to the balloons, a great cluster on green, none on red, and one on yellow, which signified a warning. Olivia's name. What had she done? The classroom assistant, Mr. Cameron, a lanky guy who was around Jessica's age, gave Jessica a sympathetic smile that made her worry even more. "Why don't you take Olivia over to the reading corner?" Mrs. Rose suggested when all the other children were gone, and Mr. Cameron took Olivia's hand and led her to an area filled with beanbags and books. Jessica watched her daughter settle down with Mog on Fox Night, the classroom assistant pointing at the pictures and immediately drawing Olivia into the story. "She loves books," Jessica said as Mrs. Rose took a seat on a tiny chair that made her look like Alice after she consumed the Eat-Me cake. Jessica sat down too. Nicola Rose, who was fast approaching retirement, had been a teacher in Beckenham for 40 years, most of that time spent here at Foxgrove Primary. She had taught both Jessica and her sister Isabel when they were at infant school back in the 80s. And though Mrs. Rose looked a lot different these days, facing her across the little table threw Jessica back in time to her own childhood. She had been Jessica Brooks then. Jessica and Isabel Brooks, briefly and excruciatingly famous. "We had a little bit of an incident with Olivia today," Mrs. Rose said, pulling Jessica, now Jessica Gardner, back to the present. "What happened?" "I'm afraid Olivia got into a fight with another girl." Jessica thought she must have misheard. "A fight?" Mrs. Rose held up a hand. "Okay, perhaps fight is the wrong word. A quarrel. It was at break time. Olivia was playing on the bikes." She nodded in the direction of the playground. Jessica had seen the bikes, actually trikes, in question. Small and yellow with no pedals, the children scooted them along the ground. We encouraged the children to take turns, and Olivia had been on one for a while. This other little girl asked Olivia if she could have a go, and Olivia refused. Mr. Cameron was supervising them, and when he told Olivia that it was someone else's turn, Olivia got very cross. "Right." She kicked the bike over and told the other girl she was a pooh-head. Jessica just about managed to suppress a laugh. Mrs. Rose, though, wasn't amused. The other little girl was very upset. "I can imagine, but it sounds like pretty normal 4-year-old behavior," Jessica said. "Squabbling over toys, calling each other silly names. It's not like she punched her and told her to F off." Mrs. Rose pursed her lips. "Sorry, I'll have a word with her," Jessica said, cringing. "Tell her it's unacceptable." Well, the problem is, This is just the latest in a series of incidents.